I'm standing in a ballroom that costs more per night than I make in a month, watching my wife flirt with her boss like I'm invisible. The chandeliers above us probably cost more than my car, and the champagne in my hand tastes like liquid gold mixed with my own humiliation. "Simon, darling, you look positively miserable," Natalie purrs, gliding over in that black dress that used to make my heart skip. Now it just makes my wallet lighter. "Try to smile. You're representing me tonight." Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, and tell me in the comments what city you're watching from. Representing her. Not us, her. "I'm practicing my funeral face," I reply, taking another sip of the overpriced bubbles. "Figured it might come in handy." She laughs that tinkling sound that once charmed me and now sounds like breaking glass. "You're so dramatic, Simon. It's just a company gala." Just a gala. Right. Where she's been eye-fucking Elliot Harker for the past hour while I stand here like a potted plant in an ill-fitting rental tux. Elliot Harker, 44 years old, drives a vintage Mustang that he probably loves more than his wife, and has the kind of smile that makes you want to check your wallet afterward. He's Natalie's boss at Morrison & Associates, the PR firm where she's been working late an awful lot lately. "Simon!" Victor Martinez appears at my elbow, my one ally in this sea of fake smiles and designer suits. He works in accounting at my firm, has 3 kids, and understands that sometimes a man needs to drink his feelings. "How's the champagne?" "Expensive and disappointing," I mutter, "like everything else here." "Including your wife's conversation with Mr. Mustang over there?" I glance over at Natalie, who's now touching Elliot's arm while laughing at something he said. Her wedding ring catches the light, and I wonder when it started feeling like a prop instead of a promise. "She's networking," I say, the words tasting bitter. "Is that what we're calling it now?" Before I can answer, Rachel Morrison, Natalie's best friend and the biggest gossip this side of TMZ, stumbles over with a champagne flute that's clearly not her first. "Simon, there you are, hiding in the corner like a little mouse." She's swaying slightly, her voice carrying that particular volume that drunk people think is whispering. "You know, Natalie was just telling me how she pretends she's single at these events. Says it's so much more fun that way." The words hit me like ice water. Victor goes very still beside me. "Excuse me?" I say quietly. Rachel, oblivious to the bomb she's just dropped, continues with drunken enthusiasm. "Oh yes," she says, "marriage is like wearing a coat in summer. Sometimes you just need to take it off and let yourself breathe." Something cold and sharp settles in my chest. I look across the room at my wife of 12 years, who's now whispering something in Elliot's ear that makes him grin like a wolf. Without saying a word, I walk over to their little tete-a-tete. The conversation dies as I approach, both of them turning to me with expressions that don't quite hide their annoyance. "Having fun?" I ask pleasantly. "Of course, darling," Natalie says, but her smile is strained. "Elliot was just telling me about his new marketing strategy." "Fascinating," I say, and slowly, deliberately, I twist my wedding ring off my finger. The gold band catches the light as I hold it up. "You know what, Nat? Since you prefer being single at these events." I drop the ring into her champagne glass. It hits the bottom with a soft clink that somehow sounds louder than the orchestra. The silence stretches like a rubber band about to snap. Natalie stares at her glass, where my wedding ring sits among the bubbles like a golden accusation. Elliot's face has gone pale, and I can feel people at nearby tables starting to notice. "Simon," Natalie whispers, her voice tight with mortification. "What are you doing?" "Setting you free," I say calmly. "Isn't that what you wanted?" She looks around frantically, aware that we're starting to draw attention. Her perfectly applied makeup can't hide the flush of humiliation creeping up her neck. "We'll talk about this at home," she hisses. "Will we? Or will you be too busy networking?" I turn to leave, feeling lighter than I have in months, when I catch sight of something that stops me cold. Through the glass doors leading to the service corridor, I see Natalie and Elliot in what can only be described as a passionate embrace. But wait, that's impossible. They're both still standing right here, staring at me with shock and growing anger. No, I realize. I'm seeing the reflection in the mirrored wall behind them. They're not embracing now, but the body language, the way they're standing just a little too close, the familiar way his hand hovers near her lower back. It all tells a story I've been too blind to read. "Enjoy your evening," I tell them both, and walk away with Victor at my side. "Jesus, Simon," Victor mutters as we head for the bar. "That was overdue," I finish. As we wait for the bartender, I catch a glimpse of movement in my peripheral vision. The service corridor doors are swinging shut, but not before I see 2 familiar figures disappear into the shadows beyond. I pull out my phone and, on impulse, follow at a distance. The corridor is dimly lit and lined with catering equipment, but there's enough light to see what I need to see. Natalie has Elliot pressed against the wall, her hands in his hair, their mouths locked together like teenagers at prom. It's not the desperate passion of a new affair. It's comfortable, familiar, practiced. I raise my phone and take a picture. The soft click of the camera is lost in the sound of their breathing and whispered endearments. God, I hate these things, Natalie murmurs against his neck, having to pretend with Simon, acting like the dutiful wife. Just a little longer, Elliot replies, his hands roaming places that used to be exclusively mine. Once the Henderson account is locked up, we can make our move. I can't wait to see his face when he realizes how long this has been going on. I take another picture, then slip away before they notice me. My hands are shaking, but it's not from shock. It's from something much more dangerous. It's from the cold, calculating fury of a man who's just discovered he's been living in a lie. Back in the ballroom, I rejoin Victor at the bar and order a whiskey. A real one, not the watered-down corporate swill they've been serving. You okay? Victor asks, studying my face. Never better, I say, and surprisingly, I mean it. For the first time in months, I feel awake. Alert, like I've been sleepwalking through my own life and just opened my eyes. Simon. Natalie appears beside me, her face flushed and her lipstick slightly smeared. She's fishing my wedding ring out of her champagne glass with a cocktail napkin. Here. Put this back on and stop making a scene. I look at the ring, then at her, then at Elliot hovering nearby like a guilty teenager. Keep it, I say. Consider it a souvenir. Of what? I lean close enough to smell her perfume, the same perfume that's probably all over Elliot's shirt right now. Of the last time you made a fool of me. I finish my whiskey and set the glass down with a sharp click. Enjoy the rest of your evening, Mrs. Gray. All of it. As I walk away, I hear her calling my name, but I don't turn around. I have work to do. 3 days later, I'm sitting in my home office at 6 a.m, surrounded by bank statements, phone records, and a growing pile of evidence that my marriage has been a sham for longer than I care to calculate. The beauty of being a financial analyst is that you learn to spot patterns, inconsistencies, and lies buried in numbers. The curse is that once you start looking, you can't stop. Natalie thinks I'm having a breakdown. She's been tiptoeing around me since the gala, making coffee and speaking in soothing tones like I'm a rabid dog that might bite. If she only knew that I've never been more clear-headed in my life. Simon? Her voice drifts down the hallway. I made pancakes. Pancakes. She hasn't made pancakes since our 2nd anniversary. The guilt must be eating her alive. I'll be right there, I call back, minimizing the spreadsheet on my screen. It's a masterpiece of financial forensics. Every unexplained expense, every late-night client dinner, every mysterious ATM withdrawal mapped out in neat columns. The pattern is beautiful in its clarity. The affair started 8 months ago, right after the Morrison and Associates Christmas party. The hotel charges, the lingerie purchases, the sudden need for a gym membership at the same club where Elliot works out, it's all there in black and white. I walk into the kitchen where Natalie is standing at the stove in her silk robe, looking like the picture of domestic bliss. Her dark hair is pulled back in a messy bun, and she's humming something under her breath. You're up early, she says without turning around. Couldn't sleep. I pour myself coffee and sit at the kitchen island, watching her performance. You? Same. She slides a plate of pancakes in front of me, and I notice her hands are shaking slightly. Simon, about the other night? What about it? She sits across from me, her green eyes wide and earnest. I think you might have misunderstood something. Rachel was drunk, and you know how she gets when she drinks. She says things that sound worse than they are. I take a bite of pancake. It's perfect, of course. Natalie's always been perfect at everything except fidelity. So, you don't pretend to be single at company events? Well, she laughs nervously. Not exactly. I mean, sometimes it's easier to network without having to explain that my husband works in finance and finds marketing boring. I see. I nod thoughtfully. And the networking you were doing with Elliot? How's that going? The question hangs in the air like smoke. Natalie's smile falters for just a moment before snapping back into place. Elliot is my boss, Simon. Of course, I have to maintain a good working relationship with him. Is that what we're calling it? What's that supposed to mean? I lean back in my chair, studying her face. She's good. I'll give her that. If I hadn't seen her with my own eyes in that corridor, I might actually believe the innocent act. Nothing, I say finally. I'm just trying to understand why my wife of 12 years felt the need to publicly humiliate me at a work function. I didn't. You did. I stand up, leaving the pancakes untouched. But don't worry about it, Nat. I'm getting a clearer picture of where we stand. I kiss the top of her head, breathing in that familiar scent of vanilla and lies. Have a good day at work. Tell Elliot I said hello. Her face goes white, but I'm already walking away. At work, I can't concentrate on the quarterly reports spread across my desk. Instead, I keep thinking about the look in Natalie's eyes when I mentioned Elliot's name, fear, guilt, and something else. Something that looked almost like relief. You look like hell, Victor says, appearing in my cubicle with 2 cups of coffee. Rough night? You could say that. I accept the coffee gratefully. Victor, can I ask you something? Shoot. If you found out Maria was cheating on you, what would you do? Victor nearly chokes on his coffee. Jesus, Simon, is this about the other night? Hypothetically. He sets down his cup and looks at me seriously. Hypothetically? I'd want to know everything. How long, with who, why. Then I'd decide whether to fight for my marriage or fight for my dignity. And if fighting for your marriage wasn't an option, then I'd make damn sure I came out on top. He leans closer, lowering his voice. Why? What did you find? I pull out my phone and show him the photos from the corridor. Victor's expression goes from concern to anger to something darker. He mutters, How long? At least 8 months? Maybe longer. I put the phone away. The question is, what do I do about it? Lawyer up. Take her for everything. That's not enough. Victor raises an eyebrow. What do you mean? I mean, she didn't just cheat on me, Victor. She humiliated me, made me look like a fool in front of everyone we know. If I just file for divorce, she gets to play the victim. Poor Natalie, married to a boring finance guy who couldn't satisfy her. So what are you thinking? I lean back in my chair, a plan beginning to form in my mind. It's risky, possibly stupid, but it has a certain poetic justice to it. I'm thinking about evening the score. That afternoon, I drive to Natalie's office building. It's a sleek glass tower downtown, the kind of place where image is everything and perception is reality. Perfect hunting ground for what I have in mind. I park across the street and wait. At 5:30, employees start trickling out of the building. At 5:45, I see Elliot emerge, checking his phone and looking around nervously. He doesn't go to his car. Instead, he walks 2 blocks to a small cafe and sits at a corner table. 5 minutes later, Natalie joins him. I watch them through the cafe window, their body language telling a story of intimacy and conspiracy. They're not just lovers, they're partners in crime, and I'm the victim they're planning to dispose of. Natalie slides a folder across the table to Elliot. He opens it, frowns, and says something that makes her laugh. The sound carries through the glass, and I recognize it as the same laugh she used to save just for me. I take more pictures, then follow them when they leave separately. Natalie goes to her car and drives home. Elliot walks to a parking garage and emerges in his beloved Mustang, a 1969 Boss 429 in pristine condition that he probably loves more than any human being. An idea begins to form. That night, I wait until Natalie is asleep, then slip out of bed and go to my office. I have research to do. Elliot Harker, 44, divorced, no kids. Lives in a condo downtown, works out at Elite Fitness, drives the Mustang to work every day, and parks it in the same spot in the Morrison and Associates garage. Creatures of habit are so predictable. More interesting is what I find about Morrison and Associates. The company is family-owned, run by old-school types who value reputation and discretion above all else. Office romances are discouraged, and relationships between supervisors and subordinates are strictly prohibited. I smile as I bookmark several pages. Knowledge is power, and power is exactly what I need. The next morning, Natalie is already gone when I wake up. There's a note on the kitchen counter. Early meeting. See you tonight. Love, N. Love, right. I call in sick to work and spend the day doing reconnaissance. I follow Natalie's routine, timing her movements, identifying her patterns. She has lunch with Rachel at a trendy bistro where they spend an hour gossiping and laughing. From my table across the restaurant, I can't hear what they're saying, but I can read lips well enough to catch fragments. Simon's been acting strange. Thinks he suspects something. Almost ready to make the move. Make the move. That sounds ominous. After lunch, Rachel leaves, but Natalie stays behind and makes a phone call. I watch her face transform from casual to serious to something that looks almost predatory. She's planning something that involves me. I pay my check and follow her back to her office, my mind racing. Whatever game she's playing, I'm clearly not meant to win. But she's made one crucial mistake. She's underestimated me. That evening, Natalie comes home with takeout from my favorite Thai restaurant and a smile that doesn't reach her eyes. Thought we could have a quiet night in, she says, unpacking containers of pad thai and green curry. Just the 2 of us. Sounds perfect. I open a bottle of wine, a good one from the collection we started on our honeymoon. We need to talk anyway. She freezes for just a moment. About what? About us. Our future. Where we go from here. She relaxes, and I realize she thinks I'm about to have the conversation she wants me to have. The one where I apologize for my behavior at the gala and promise to be a better husband. I've been doing some thinking, I continue, pouring wine into 2 glasses, about what you said the other night. Simon, I told you, Rachel was drunk. No, not that. About how I've been distant lately, distracted. You're right, I haven't been the husband you deserve. This is clearly not what she expected. She sits down slowly, studying my face. What are you saying? I'm saying I want to fight for us, for our marriage. I want to be the man you fell in love with again. The guilt that flashes across her face is almost painful to watch. Almost. Simon, I know things have been difficult between us. I know I've been taking you for granted, but I want to change that. I raise my glass. To new beginnings. She clinks her glass against mine, but her hand is shaking. To new beginnings, she echoes. We eat in relative silence, making small talk about work and weekend plans. Normal couple conversation, if you ignore the undercurrent of deception flowing beneath every word. I might have to work late tomorrow, she says eventually. Big presentation for a new client. Of course you do, I smile. Don't worry about dinner. I'll figure something out. After she goes to bed, I sit in my office and finalize my plans. Tomorrow, while she's working late with Elliot, I'll be working too, on destroying both of their lives. The next evening, I'm crouched behind a concrete pillar in the Morrison and Associates parking garage, feeling like a character in a bad spy novel. The security camera above me has been temporarily disabled, a skill I learned from a YouTube video and executed with electrical tape and a well-placed ladder. At 6:30 p.m., Elliot's Mustang purrs into its usual spot. He gets out, checks his reflection in the side mirror, and straightens his tie. He's dressed for a date, not a business meeting. I wait until he disappears into the elevator before making my move. The beauty of Elliot's obsession with his car is that it makes him predictable. He parks in the same spot every day, always locks it the same way, and checks on it religiously. The Mustang is his baby, his pride and joy, his most prized possession, which makes it the perfect target. I start with the tires, not slashing them, which would be criminal damage, but loosening the valve stems just enough to create a slow leak. By morning, all 4 tires will be flat but not permanently damaged. Next, I pop the hood and disconnect the battery. Again, no permanent damage, just inconvenience. The pièce de résistance comes last. I've brought a bag of frozen shrimp from the grocery store, and I carefully stuff them into every air vent I can find. In this heat, they'll start to smell within hours, and the stench will linger for weeks. Finally, I place a note under the windshield wiper. This is what betrayal smells like. Enjoy the aroma. I'm back in my car and gone before anyone notices. At home, I pour myself a scotch and wait. Natalie texted an hour ago to say she'd be late, presentation running long, so I have time to prepare for her return. I've printed out copies of the photos from the corridor, along with some choice screenshots from her phone records. Not enough to play my whole hand, but enough to let her know the game has changed. She comes home at 11:47 p.m., her hair slightly mussed and her lipstick gone. She's trying to be quiet, probably hoping I'm asleep. How was the presentation? I ask from the living room. She jumps, pressing a hand to her chest. God, Simon, you scared me. I thought you were in bed. Couldn't sleep. How did it go with the client? Good. Really good. I think we landed the account. She's a terrible liar when she's nervous. Her voice goes up half an octave, and she can't maintain eye contact. That's wonderful, honey. You must be exhausted. I am? She kicks off her heels and starts toward the stairs. I'm going to shower and go to bed. Natalie. She stops, one foot on the bottom step. Yes. Give my regards to Elliot tomorrow. I hope his car troubles aren't too serious. The color drains from her face. What car troubles? Oh, you'll find out. I turn back to my book, dismissing her. After a moment, I hear her footsteps on the stairs, moving faster than before. The next morning, my phone rings at 7:23 a.m. Victor's name appears on the screen. Turn on channel 7, he says without preamble. Why? Just do it. I grab the remote and flip to the local news. A perky blonde reporter is standing outside the Morrison and Associates building. What employees are calling a prank gone wrong. The victim's car was vandalized in the company parking garage, and police are investigating. The camera pans to show Elliot standing next to his Mustang, which is surrounded by tow truck drivers and curious onlookers. Even from a distance, I can see his face is red with embarrassment and rage. The perpetrator left this note. The reporter continues, holding up a plastic evidence bag. Police say they're treating this as harassment rather than vandalism, since no permanent damage was done to the vehicle. I smile and change the channel. Jesus, Simon, Victor says. Please tell me that wasn't you? I have no idea what you're talking about. Right. Well, whoever did it, they've got balls. Harker's been calling everyone he knows, trying to figure out who's responsible. Any leads? None. But word is, his car smells like a seafood restaurant dumpster. They're going to have to strip the interior to get rid of the stench. After Victor hangs up, I sit back and enjoy my coffee. It's amazing how much better it tastes when you're winning. Natalie doesn't come down for breakfast. I can hear her on the phone upstairs, her voice low and urgent. She's probably talking to Elliot, trying to figure out if the car incident is connected to me. Let her wonder. At work, I can barely concentrate on my spreadsheets. Every few minutes, I check the local news website for updates on the parking garage prank. The story has gained traction on social media, with people speculating about who might have targeted the mystery car owner. By lunch, someone has posted a video on TikTok showing Elliot arguing with the tow truck driver while the smell of rotting fish wafts from his beloved Mustang. The video has 50,000 views and counting. I'm scrolling through the comments when my phone buzzes with a text from Natalie. We need to talk. Come home after work. I text back, can't wait. She's waiting for me in the living room when I get home, still in her work clothes but looking like she hasn't slept. There are dark circles under her eyes, and her usually perfect hair is pulled back in a messy ponytail. Sit down, she says. This sounds serious. It is? She clasps her hands in her lap, knuckles white with tension. Simon, I need to ask you something, and I need you to tell me the truth. Of course. Did you vandalize Elliot's car? I lean back in my chair and study her face. She's scared, which means she's starting to realize that her boring, predictable husband might not be as harmless as she thought. Why would I do something like that? Don't play games with me, Simon. You mentioned his car troubles before they happened. You've been acting strange ever since the gala, and now this. This what? A prank in a parking garage? Natalie, I'm a financial analyst, not some kind of criminal mastermind. Then how did you know about his car? I stand up and walk to the window, looking out at our perfectly manicured suburban street. Lucky guess. Simon. I turn back to her, and for a moment, I almost feel sorry for her. She looks genuinely frightened, like she's finally realizing that actions have consequences. Almost. You want the truth, Natalie? Here it is. I know about you and Elliot. I know about the hotel rooms, the fake client dinners, the whole sordid affair. I've known for days. She goes very still. What are you talking about? I'm talking about this. I pull out my phone and show her the photos from the corridor. And this. I show her the restaurant surveillance shots, and about 8 months' worth of financial records that tell a very interesting story. She stares at the phone screen, her face cycling through shock, denial, and finally, resignation. How long have you known? Long enough? I put the phone away. The question is, what are we going to do about it? Simon, I can explain. Can you? Can you explain why my wife of 12 years has been sneaking around with her boss? Can you explain the hotel charges on our credit card, the lingerie purchases, the gym membership at a club you never use? It's not what you think. It's exactly what I think. I sit back down, leaning forward with my elbows on my knees. You're having an affair, Natalie. You have been for months. The only question is whether you're going to keep lying about it. She's quiet for a long moment, and I can see the wheels turning in her head. She's trying to figure out her next move, calculating whether honesty or continued deception serves her better. Okay, she says finally. Yes, I've been seeing Elliot. The admission hangs in the air between us like a blade. Why? Because... She struggles for words, and for the first time in months, she looks genuinely vulnerable. Because I was lonely, Simon. Because you work all the time, and when you come home, you barely look at me. Because I felt invisible in my own marriage. So you decided to make me invisible in my own life. That's not what I meant to do. But it's what you did. I stand up again, pacing to the fireplace. You made me into a joke, Natalie. The clueless husband who doesn't know his wife is screwing around. How does that feel? Knowing that everyone at your office pities me? Nobody pities you, don't they? What about Rachel? What about your other friends? How many of them know about your little arrangement? Her silence is answer enough. All of them, I say. All of them know, and none of them thought I deserved the truth. Simon, please. We can work through this. We can go to counseling. We can... No. The word comes out harder than I intended. We can't work through this, Natalie. You didn't just cheat on me. You humiliated me. You turned our marriage into a lie and made me the punchline. So, what are you saying? I'm saying the game has changed. You want to play? Fine. But you're not going to like the rules. I head for the door, then stop and look back at her. Oh, and Natalie. You might want to call Elliot. I have a feeling he's going to need all the support he can get. I leave her sitting in the living room, looking small and lost in her expensive clothes. For a moment, I almost feel bad for her. But then I remember the sound of her laughter in that corridor, the casual way she talked about pretending to be single, the months of lies and deception. The moment passes. The law offices of Brennan, Walsh, and Associates occupy the 15th floor of a downtown high-rise, all mahogany and leather and the kind of quiet confidence that comes with winning. I'm sitting across from Margaret Brennan herself, a woman in her 50s with steel gray hair and eyes that could cut glass. Mr. Gray, she says, reviewing the file I've prepared. This is quite thorough. Financial records, photographic evidence, documentation of extramarital activities. You've been busy. I'm a detail-oriented person. So I see. She closes the folder and leans back in her chair. What exactly are you hoping to accomplish? I want out of my marriage with my dignity and my assets intact. That's certainly possible, given what you've shown me. Illinois is a no-fault divorce state, but evidence of adultery can still impact property division and spousal support. With this documentation, we can probably secure a favorable settlement. Probably isn't good enough. She raises an eyebrow. Mr. Gray, I have to ask, are you looking for legal advice or are you looking for revenge? What's the difference? The difference is that I'm a lawyer, not a hitman. I can help you dissolve your marriage and protect your interests, but I can't help you destroy your wife's life. I'm not asking you to destroy anything. I'm asking you to make sure she doesn't destroy mine. Margaret studies me for a moment, then nods. Fair enough. I'll have my assistant draw up the papers. How do you want to serve them? At her office. During business hours. In front of as many people as possible. Mr. Gray, she made our private business public when she decided to conduct her affair at company events. Turnabout is fair play. Margaret sighs, but makes a note in the file. It's your divorce. 2 days later, I'm sitting in my car across the street from Morrison and Associates, watching the lunch crowd flow in and out of the building's ground floor cafe. At exactly 12:30, a process server in a cheap suit walks through the front doors. My phone buzzes with a text from Victor. Please tell me you're not about to do something stupid. I text back, define stupid. 5 minutes later, my phone rings. It's Natalie. Simon, what the hell is this? Divorce papers. I thought that was obvious. You had me served at work, in front of everyone. I'm sorry, was there a more convenient time for you? Maybe during one of your client dinners with Elliot? You bastard. You absolute bastard. I love you too, sweetheart. You'll want to read those papers carefully. Pay special attention to the asset division section. I hang up and drive home, feeling lighter than I have in years. That evening, Natalie storms through the front door like a Category 5 hurricane. She's still in her work clothes, but her hair is disheveled and her makeup is smeared from crying. 60%? She shouts, waving the divorce papers. You want 60% of everything? I want what I'm entitled to. Based on what? Based on the fact that you've been using our joint accounts to finance your affair, hotel rooms, dinners, gifts, all paid for with marital assets. I'm simply recouping my losses. That's insane. Is it? Let's see what the judge thinks. She throws the papers on the coffee table and slumps into a chair. Simon, please. We don't have to do this. We can work it out between ourselves. Work what out? You've been cheating on me for months, lying to my face, making me look like a fool. What exactly is there to work out? I made a mistake. You made a choice. Multiple choices. Every day for 8 months, you chose to betray our marriage. I never meant for it to go this far. How far did you mean for it to go? She doesn't answer, which is answer enough. Here's what's going to happen. I continue. You're going to sign those papers, we're going to divide our assets according to the terms I've outlined, and we're going to end this marriage with whatever dignity we have left. And if I don't, I lean forward, meeting her eyes. Then I release everything I have to the press. Photos, financial records, hotel receipts, phone logs. I turn your affair into front-page news. You wouldn't. Try me. She stares at me for a long moment, and I can see her calculating the odds, weighing her options. You've changed, she says finally. No, Natalie. I've just stopped pretending to be someone I'm not. The next week passes in a blur of lawyers, paperwork, and tense phone calls. Natalie has hired her own attorney, a shark named David Kellerman who specializes in high-conflict divorces. He's good, but he's working with a bad hand. Meanwhile, I've been busy with other projects. It starts with a simple phone call to Morrison and Associates' Human Resources Department. I don't identify myself, just express concern about inappropriate workplace relationships and suggest they might want to review their employee handbook. 2 days later, Elliot is called into a meeting with HR and the company's senior partners. Word spreads quickly through the office. Someone reported the affair, and now both Elliot and Natalie are under investigation. The beauty of corporate politics is that perception matters more than reality. Even if they can't prove anything, the mere suggestion of impropriety is enough to damage careers and reputations. I follow up with a carefully crafted email to Morrison and Associates' biggest clients, expressing concern about the ethical climate at the firm and suggesting they might want to reconsider their business relationships. By Friday, 3 major accounts have pulled their business. Simon. Victor finds me in the break room, pouring coffee with hands that are steadier than they have any right to be. I just heard from my friend at Morrison and Associates. They're hemorrhaging clients. That's unfortunate. Is it? Or is it exactly what you planned? I take a sip of coffee and consider the question. Victor, let me ask you something. If someone stole your car, would you just file an insurance claim and move on? Probably. What if they didn't just steal your car, but they bragged about it to all your friends? Made jokes about how easy it was, how stupid you were for leaving it unlocked? That's different. Is it? Because that's what Natalie did to me. She didn't just cheat. She made me into a joke. She turned our marriage into entertainment for her friends. Victor sets down his coffee cup. So you're destroying her career? I'm not destroying anything. I'm simply making sure people know the truth about who they're doing business with. And Elliot? What about him? Word is, he's going to be fired. I shrug. Maybe he should have thought about that before he decided to sleep with a married woman. Victor looks at me like he's seeing a stranger. Jesus, Simon. What happened to you? I woke up. That afternoon, I get a call from Margaret Brennan. Mr. Gray, we have a problem. Your wife's attorney is claiming harassment. They're saying you've been targeting her workplace, interfering with her employment. That's a serious accusation. Is it true? I haven't harassed anyone. I've simply exercised my right to free speech. Mr. Gray. Margaret, my wife conducted an affair using marital assets, in full view of her colleagues, with no regard for my reputation or dignity. If the consequences of her actions are affecting her career, that's not harassment. That's justice. There's a pause. They're threatening to go to the police. Let them. I haven't broken any laws. Mr. Gray, I have to advise you to stop whatever it is you're doing. If this escalates, it's already escalated. Natalie escalated it the moment she decided to make our marriage a public joke. I hang up and lean back in my chair, thinking. They're getting desperate, which means my strategy is working. But desperation makes people dangerous, and I need to be careful. My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. Back off, or you'll regret it. I screenshot the message and forward it to Margaret with a note. Evidence of harassment from the other side. 2 can play the legal game. That evening, I'm working in my home office when I hear a car pull into the driveway. Through the window, I see Elliot getting out of a rental car. His Mustang is apparently still in the shop, trying to get rid of the lingering aroma of rotting seafood. He looks like hell. His usually perfect hair is disheveled, his clothes are wrinkled, and he's lost weight. The stress is clearly getting to him. He rings the doorbell, and I take my time answering. Elliot. What a pleasant surprise. We need to talk. Do we? Let me in, Simon. I don't think that's a good idea. You're obviously upset, and I'd hate for there to be any misunderstandings. I'm not going to hurt you. I never said you were. But you did threaten me via text message, so forgive me if I'm cautious. His face flushes red. I never sent you any texts. Really? Then who sent this? I show him the screenshot. He stares at the phone, confusion replacing anger. I don't know, but it wasn't me. Interesting. If Elliot didn't send the threat, who did? What do you want, Elliot? I want you to stop. Whatever you're doing to destroy Natalie's career, to destroy mine, just stop. I'm not doing anything except protecting my interests in a divorce. Bullshit. You're systematically destroying everything we've worked for. We? There is no we, Elliot. There's you, there's my wife, and there's the affair you've been conducting behind my back. Look, I know you're angry. Angry? I laugh, and the sound is harsher than I intended. Elliot, Anger is what you feel when someone cuts you off in traffic. What I feel is something much more refined. What do you want? Money? I'll pay you. Just leave us alone. You'll pay me? The audacity is breathtaking. You sleep with my wife, destroy my marriage, turn me into a laughingstock, and now you want to pay me off? Name your price. There isn't enough money in the world, Elliot. But I'll tell you what. I'll make you a deal. He leans forward, desperate. What kind of deal? Resign from Morrison and Associates. Publicly admit to the affair. Issue a formal apology to me and to your company. Do that, and I'll consider calling off the dogs. I can't do that. It would ruin me. You should have thought about that before you decided to ruin me. Simon, please, be reasonable. I am being reasonable. I'm giving you a choice. Take responsibility for your actions or face the consequences. He stares at me for a long moment, then shakes his head. You're insane. No, Elliot. I'm just done being the nice guy. He turns and walks back to his rental car, and I watch him drive away. As his taillights disappear down the street, I feel a familiar satisfaction. The game is far from over, but I'm definitely winning. My phone buzzes with another text from the unknown number. Last warning. I smile and delete the message. Whoever is sending these threats clearly doesn't know who they're dealing with. They're about to find out. The elite fitness gym at 7 a.m. is a temple to vanity and ambition, filled with the kind of people who think a good workout can solve any problem. I've been a member for exactly 3 days, long enough to learn the routines of the other early morning regulars, including Natalie. She's on the elliptical machine, earbuds in, ponytail swinging, looking like the picture of health and vitality. What the casual observer can't see is the stress eating away at her from the inside, the dark circles under her eyes that concealer can't quite hide, the way her hands shake slightly when she thinks no one is looking. I'm on the treadmill across the room, wearing a baseball cap and sunglasses, invisible among the crowd of before-work warriors. It's amazing how anonymous you can be in a room full of people staring at themselves in mirrors. My phone buzzes with a text from Victor. Are you seriously stalking your wife at the gym? I text back, research. This is getting weird, man. Weird is relative. At 7:30, Natalie finishes her workout and heads to the locker room. I give her a 5-minute head start, then make my move. The women's locker room is off limits, obviously, but the hallway outside is fair game. I position myself near the water fountain, checking my phone and looking like any other gym member, killing time. Can't keep this up much longer. I hear Natalie's voice through the locker room door. You have to, comes Rachel's reply. Simon's losing his mind, but he'll calm down eventually. Men always do. You don't understand. He's not the same person I married. It's like he's become someone else entirely. Good. Maybe now he'll actually fight for you instead of just accepting everything. Rachel, he's destroying my career, my life. Elliot might get fired because of this? So? Elliot's a big boy. He knew the risks when he started sleeping with a married woman. There's a pause, then Natalie's voice, smaller now. I think I made a mistake. Which mistake? Cheating on your husband or getting caught? Both. I smile and walk away. Sometimes the best intelligence comes from simply listening. That afternoon, I'm in my office when Margaret Brennan calls. Mr. Gray, I have some interesting news. Your wife's attorney has made a settlement offer. I'm listening. They're willing to accept a 50-50 split of assets, no spousal support, and a confidentiality agreement. What kind of confidentiality agreement? The usual. No public discussion of the divorce, no disclosure of private information, no harassment of either party. In other words, they want to buy my silence. That's one way to put it. I lean back in my chair, thinking. A 50-50 split is more than fair, and no spousal support saves me thousands. But the confidentiality agreement is the real prize. It means they're afraid of what I might reveal. Counteroffer, I say. 60-40 split in my favor, no spousal support, and I keep the house. In exchange, I agree to the confidentiality clause. That's aggressive. So is conducting an affair with marital assets. I'll present the offer. After Margaret hangs up, I sit back and consider my options. The smart play would be to take the settlement and move on with my life. Cut my losses, start over, find someone who actually deserves my loyalty. But smart and satisfying aren't always the same thing. My phone rings. Unknown number. Hello? You think you're so clever? The voice is female, distorted, obviously using some kind of voice changer app. You think you're winning. Who is this? Someone who knows what you're really doing. Someone who's going to stop you. Good luck with that. You have no idea what you're up against, Simon. No idea what you've started. Enlighten me? Back off, or face the consequences. The line goes dead. I stare at the phone, my mind racing. The voice was disguised, but there was something familiar about the cadence, the word choice. I've heard that speech pattern before. That evening, I'm cooking dinner, something I've rediscovered since Natalie moved out, when the doorbell rings. Through the peephole, I see Rachel standing on my front porch, looking nervous and angry in equal measure. I open the door but leave the chain lock engaged. Rachel, what a surprise. We need to talk. Do we? Simon, this has gone far enough. You're destroying people's lives. I'm protecting my own life. There's a difference. Natalie is my best friend. I can't stand by and watch you tear her apart. Where was this loyalty when she was tearing apart our marriage? Rachel's face flushes. She made a mistake. She made a choice. Multiple choices. And so did you when you decided to help her cover it up. You knew about the affair, Rachel. You knew, and you said nothing. You enabled it. You made jokes about it at the company gala, remember? She looks away, guilt written across her features. So here's the thing, I continue. You're not the victim here. You're an accomplice. And if you think I'm going to let you or anyone else dictate terms to me, you're sadly mistaken. Simon, please, just stop. Take the settlement and move on. Why? So you can all go back to pretending nothing happened? So Natalie can play the victim, and Elliot can find his next married conquest? It doesn't have to be like this. You're right. It didn't have to be like this, but your friend made sure it was. I close the door and engage the deadbolt. Through the window, I watch Rachel stand on the porch for a few moments before walking back to her car. As she drives away, I notice something interesting. She's not heading back toward her own neighborhood. She's heading toward downtown, toward Elliot's condo. I grab my keys and follow. 20 minutes later, I'm parked across the street from Elliot's building, watching Rachel's car in the visitor parking. Through the lobby's glass doors, I can see her talking to the doorman. This is interesting. Rachel and Elliot meeting in secret. Either they're planning something, or there's more to this story than I realized. I don't have to wait long to find out. 30 minutes later, Rachel emerges from the building, but she's not alone. Elliot is with her, and they're both carrying overnight bags. They get into Rachel's car and drive away. I follow at a distance, curious about their destination. They head to the airport. I park in the long-term lot and follow them into the terminal. They're at the United counter, checking in for what looks like a last-minute flight. I can't get close enough to hear their conversation, but their body language tells the story. This isn't a romantic getaway, it's an escape plan. They're running. I pull out my phone and call Margaret Brennan. Margaret, I need you to file an emergency motion to freeze all of Natalie's assets. On what grounds? Flight risk. I have reason to believe she's planning to leave the jurisdiction. Mr. Gray, it's after hours. Then call the judge at home. File whatever paperwork you need to file. Do it tonight. What's going on? I watch Rachel and Elliot disappear through security, their overnight bags suggesting this is more than a weekend trip. I think my wife and her lover are about to make a run for it. 2 hours later, I'm back home when my phone rings. It's Natalie. Simon, what did you do? I protected my interests. Where are you, Natalie? That's none of your business. Actually, it is. We're in the middle of divorce proceedings, and you just tried to flee the state with your boyfriend. We didn't flee anywhere. Really? Then why are Rachel and Elliot currently on a plane to Miami? Silence. You had me followed. I didn't have to. You people aren't nearly as clever as you think you are. And Simon, listen to me. This isn't what it looks like. What does it look like, Natalie? Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like you and your friends tried to skip town rather than face the consequences of your actions. We needed to get away. To think. To figure out what to do next. What to do next? Here's a thought. Try telling the truth for once. I have been telling the truth. Have you? Because I'm starting to think there's a lot more to this story than a simple affair. Another pause, longer this time. What do you mean? I mean, I think you and your friends have been playing a much bigger game than I realized, and I think I'm about to find out what it is. Simon, you're paranoid. Am I? Then come home, Natalie. Come home, and let's finish this like adults. I can't. Why not? Because... Her voice breaks, and for a moment, she sounds like the woman I married. Because I'm scared of what you've become. I've become someone who fights back. If that scares you, maybe you should have thought about that before you started this war. I hang up and pour myself a drink. Outside, the suburban night is quiet and peaceful, but I can feel the storm building. Tomorrow, everything changes. Tomorrow, I stop playing defense and go on the attack. The thunderstorm hit Chicago at 9 p.m. on a Tuesday night, turning the sky black and the streets into rivers. I'm sitting in my living room, watching the lightning illuminate my neighborhood in stark, dramatic flashes, when I hear the first sound that doesn't belong, the soft click of the back door lock disengaging. I've been expecting this. Ever since Natalie and her friends fled to Miami 3 days ago, I've been waiting for them to make their move. The frozen assets, the emergency court orders, the very public spectacle of their attempted escape. It's all been building to this moment. I reach for the tablet on my coffee table and activate the home security system I installed last week. 12 cameras, motion sensors, and a direct feed to a live stream that's about to become very popular in my neighborhood. The back door opens, and I hear whispered voices in the kitchen. Sure he's not here? His car's in the garage, but the lights are off upstairs. Just get what we came for and let's go. I recognize the voices. Natalie, Elliot, and Rachel. The unholy trinity, back from their Miami vacation and apparently ready for some breaking and entering. I stay perfectly still, letting them move through the house. They're looking for something specific, probably the financial records and photographs I've been using as leverage. What they don't know is that everything important is stored in a safety deposit box downtown. What they're about to find is something much more interesting. Simon, Natalie's voice carries down the hallway. Simon, are you here? I don't answer. Let them think they have the advantage. I hear footsteps on the stairs, moving toward my office. This is where it gets fun. 3 months ago, when I first discovered the affair, I installed a few special features in my home office. Nothing illegal, nothing dangerous, just some creative security measures for someone who works with sensitive financial data. The first measure is simple, a pressure-sensitive floor mat under the desk chair that triggers a silent alarm. The second is more sophisticated, a voice-activated recording system that captures everything said in the room. The third is my masterpiece, a wireless speaker system that can broadcast audio throughout the house and, with the flip of a switch, to every smartphone in a 3-block radius via a hijacked Bluetooth network. Found it! Elliot's voice echoes from upstairs. The computer's still on. What about the files? Rachel asks. Looking for them now. I smile and reach for my phone. Time for the main event. I open the security app and start the live stream, then send a mass text to every contact in my phone. Live break-in happening at my house, watch the show, link. Within seconds, my phone is buzzing with responses. Victor, my neighbors, even some coworkers. Everyone wants to see what's happening. There's nothing here, Natalie says, frustration clear in her voice. The files are gone. Check the bedroom, Elliot suggests. Maybe he moved them. This is my cue. I stand up, straightening my clothes, and walk calmly toward the stairs. Looking for something? I call out. The silence from upstairs is deafening. Simon? Natalie's voice is small, frightened. In the flesh. Please don't let me interrupt. I'm fascinated to see what you're planning to steal from your own house. I reach the top of the stairs and find all 3 of them frozen in my office doorway like deer in headlights. Natalie is clutching a stack of papers, Elliot has my laptop under his arm, and Rachel is holding what looks like a crowbar. Breaking and entering, I say conversationally. Theft, conspiracy. That's quite a rap sheet you're building. This is my house too, Natalie says, but her voice lacks conviction. Actually, it's not. Remember the divorce papers? I get the house. You get to find somewhere else to live. Simon, please, Rachel steps forward. We just need those files, the ones you've been using to blackmail us. Blackmail? That's a serious accusation. Do you have any proof of blackmail? You know what you've been doing. I know what I've been doing. The question is, do you know what you've been doing? I pull out my phone and activate the speaker system. Suddenly, voices fill the house. Their voices, recorded during their little planning session in Miami. And it has to be a way to discredit him. If we can prove he's been stalking us, harassing us, plant some evidence, make it look like he's unstable. The color drains from all 3 faces as they hear their own words played back to them. Surprised? I ask. You really thought I wouldn't be monitoring your communications? Natalie, I'm a financial analyst. I track money, data, patterns. Did you honestly think I couldn't track 3 amateur conspirators? You recorded us illegally, Elliot snarls. Did I? You might want to check the laws on recording conversations in public places. That hotel bar in Miami. Public place. Your phone calls from the airport? Public place. The planning session in Rachel's car outside my house yesterday? Public place. I tap my phone again, and more audio fills the house. This time, it's their conversation from yesterday, parked across the street, discussing how to break into my house and plant evidence to make me look unstable. You see, the beautiful thing about being underestimated, I continue, is that people don't bother to hide their crimes from you. They just assume you're too stupid or too weak to do anything about it. Simon, stop this, Natalie pleads. Just stop. We can work this out. Work what out? The fact that you've been planning to frame me for harassment? The fact that you've been trying to destroy my reputation while playing the victim? The fact that this was never just about an affair, this was about destroying me completely. Lightning flashes outside, illuminating their guilty faces in stark relief. Here's what's really beautiful, I continue. Right now, this entire conversation is being live-streamed to about 200 people in our neighborhood. Your friends, your coworkers, your families, they're all watching you break into my house and listening to your own words condemn you. Rachel looks at her phone and goes white. Oh my God, Simon, turn it off. Why would I do that? This is the most honest you've been in months. Please, Natalie whispers. Our careers, our reputations. Should have thought about that before you decided to destroy mine. Elliot steps forward, his face twisted with rage. You planned this whole thing. I planned to defend myself. You planned to commit crimes. There's a difference. He lunges at me, but I'm ready. I sidestep his clumsy attack, and he crashes into the wall, knocking over a picture frame. Assault, I say calmly. On live stream, in front of 200 witnesses. Elliot, you're really not very good at this. My phone buzzes with notifications. The viewer count is climbing, apparently word is spreading beyond my contact list. You want to know the truth? I ask, addressing the camera on my phone. The real truth about what's been happening here. I pull out a thick folder and open it, revealing months of documentation. My wife didn't just have an affair. She and her friends turned it into a game. They made bets on how long it would take me to find out, how I would react, whether I would fight back or just roll over and take it. I hold up printed screenshots of text messages, social media posts, emails. They called it the Simon Project. See how far they could push the boring husband before he snapped. Document his reactions, turn his pain into entertainment. Natalie's face crumples. Simon, no, don't. They documented everything. My reactions at the company gala, my behavior after I found out. They were planning to use it all against me in the divorce, to paint me as an unstable stalker who couldn't handle his wife's success. I show more documents to the camera. But here's the thing about documentation. It works both ways. While they were documenting me, I was documenting them. And what I found was a conspiracy to defraud me in our divorce, to destroy my reputation, and to profit from my humiliation. The room is silent, except for the sound of rain against the windows and the soft pinging of my phone as more viewers join. The stream. So here's what's going to happen, I continue. You're going to leave my house. You're going to return everything you tried to steal. And you're going to face the consequences of your actions. What consequences? Rachel asks, her voice barely a whisper. Well, let's see. Breaking and entering, theft, conspiracy to commit fraud, harassment, assault. That's just the criminal charges. Then there's the civil suits, the professional consequences, the social fallout. I gesture to my phone. Did I mention this stream has over 1,000 viewers now? Apparently it's gone viral. Elliot looks at his phone and makes a sound like a wounded animal. My career is over. Should have thought about that before you decided to sleep with a married woman and then conspire to destroy her husband. Simon, please, Natalie begs. I'll do anything. Just turn off the stream. Anything? Yes. Then tell the truth. All of it, on camera, for everyone to hear. She looks around the room, at Elliot and Rachel, at the camera, at the wreckage of her carefully constructed lies. She starts, then stops. Tell them about the Simon Project, Natalie. Tell them how you turned our marriage into a game for your own amusement. I can't. Then you've made your choice. I turn to address the camera directly. Ladies and gentlemen, you've seen and heard everything you need to know. These 3 people broke into my house tonight to steal evidence of their own crimes and plant false evidence to frame me. They've been recorded planning these crimes, caught in the act of committing them, and now they're facing the consequences. My phone shows over 3,000 viewers now. The chat is exploding with comments, most of them supporting me. The police are on their way, I continue. The evidence has been preserved. Justice will be served. As if on cue, I hear sirens in the distance. That's your ride, I tell them. Natalie starts crying. Rachel looks like she's going to be sick. Elliot is staring at his phone, watching his life implode in real time. Simon, Natalie says through her tears, I loved you. I really did. No, I reply. You loved the idea of me. The safe, boring husband who would never fight back, never cause trouble, never demand better. You loved having someone to come home to after your adventures with Elliot. The sirens are getting closer. But you never loved me, because if you had, you never would have turned our marriage into a game. The police arrive just as the storm reaches its peak. Lightning illuminates the street as officers surround the house, and I watch through the window as my neighbors emerge from their homes to witness the final act of this drama. I end the live stream and put my phone away. The show is over. 2 hours later, after statements and arrests and paperwork, I'm alone in my house. The storm has passed, leaving the air clean and fresh. My phone has been buzzing nonstop with messages of support, interview requests, and legal offers. The video has been shared thousands of times across social media. #Simon Project is trending on Twitter. News outlets are picking up the story. By morning, everyone will know the truth. I pour myself a drink and sit on my back porch, looking out at the quiet suburban street where I've lived for 8 years. Tomorrow, I'll start the process of rebuilding my life. New job, new city, new everything. But tonight, I'm content to sit in the silence and savor the taste of victory. My phone buzzes with one final message from Victor. Remind me never to piss you off. I smile and type back, lesson learned. The story ends here, in this moment of perfect quiet after the storm. No epilogue needed, no loose ends to tie up. Justice has been served, the truth has been revealed, and the game is finally over. I won.